All right. Welcome, everybody, to our fourth episode of the Casual MMA podcast. I'm Anthony, and I have my co host here, Umer.
What's good, everyone?
And today we're going to talk about UFC 270. There was a lot of interesting fights, a lot of outcomes. Some of us expected, some of us definitely did not expect. So we're going to unpack all of that, and we'll get right into it talking about the main event. And the main event was Alexander Volkanovski and Korean Zombie. Umer, what'd you think?
I think that was the most perfect performance I've ever seen from Volkanovski. Like from beginning to end, he dominated the fight. He had his game plan going on. He picked up Zombie apart. It showed that Zombie really wasn't supposed to be in there with him, and he wasn't. It was supposed to be Max Holloway. It was definitely the best performance of Alexander Volkanovski. And I think he should be either number 2 or 3 pound for pound.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we saw it almost straight off the bat how, excuse me, Volkanovski's speed was just outmatching Zombie in every. Zombie's punches look way slower compared to Volk's. I mean, that jab was hitting him anytime he wanted to.
Yeah.
And we talked about it. It reminded a lot of us of, or just me and you, of at least the Gaethje-Ferguson fight where it was just a striking outclassing. Just everything that Volkanovski wanted to hit him with, he was hitting him with.
Yeah, Volkanovski is such a well-rounded fighter. He has the boxing down. He has the kicking down. He even wrestled Zombie. Like, it shows that it's not just him that's good. He's also really good. But his team is so smart. I feel like his team, they break down their opponents to the teeth. They game plan very well, and they have such an athletically talented Volkanovski that they like they have such a someone athletically gifted as Volkanovski, a former rugby player. He's unbelievably strong for his for his size. So they have the perfect team. And maybe Volkanovski can surpass Jose Aldo as GOAT status. I want to say that Volkanovski is the second greatest featherweight of all time. I believe that he already passed Max Holloway as a featherweight GOAT status. Now he just needs to get to Jose Aldo by getting more title defenses.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say at this point that Volk has probably passed Max in terms of greatness. With Aldo, it's going to be probably a little more defenses, I think. But when looking back at the fight, I mean, knockdowns, Volk knocked him down. He outstruck him total strikes by 101 actually. And he attempted 100 more strikes. So it's crazy the amount of pace Volkanovski put on him. He just didn't stop for all five. And you saw at the end of the third round when, the commentators were all thinking like, I don't know how Chan's going to do in this fourth round. It's not looking too good at all. And at the start of the fourth round, we saw Volk look at him like, hey, like, you sure you want to keep going? And then it didn't take long for Herb Dean to stop it. Herb Dean was just looking, and it just took a couple shots, and that was it.
Yeah, Herb Dean made the right stoppage. Even though it looked like early, we know what happened the round before that. I felt really bad for Zombie because he was crying in the octagon, and I think he's like questioning himself, like, is this it? Should I retire?
So sorry to cut you off, but I heard that while he was speaking in Korean, the translator left out a part where Zombie said, I know now that I cannot be the UFC champion. So like he knows that his skill level is just not the top anymore. Like for, I guess, at least these
for
top contenders, like in the champion too. He's not championship level anymore.
For sure. The thing with Zombie is like he was never a new contender anyway. He's the previous generation fighter. He fought Jose Aldo for the belt like what, 8 years ago. He's not.
Yeah, they said it was a 3,000 day gap between title challenges that he made.
Yeah,
which is insane.
So he's not even. I don't think he can like compete with today's featherweight. Like the new generation of featherweights, Movsar Evloev, Arnold Allen, Ilya Topuria. I think they would all whoop his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got like there's a couple of people in the division that are sort of in Zombie's boat. Guys like Max Holloway who are kind of OGs now, but the thing is like these guys have age kind of
Yeah.
on their side.
Hmm.
Volk, Zombie is just what almost 36 years old now. The father time is the one thing in the UFC you can't escape.
That's true. That's true. And
Mhm.
I think Zombie will be better off retiring because he's the biggest MMA name. First of all, he's the biggest MMA name in South Korea, and second of all, he has a YouTube channel that surprisingly gets over millions of views. So I think,
Really?
yeah. So if he retires, he can comfortably make money off of that, and he's already a big inspiration for Korean MMA fighters, not just Korean MMA fighters, but also Asian MMA fighters. So I think I don't
Yeah.
think he should fight anyone next. I think he should retire.
Yeah, respect for Zombie is still at an all-time high. He did what he could. I'm so surprised that he didn't go down, that he
Yeah.
didn't get knocked out. Like obviously it would have happened,
Hmm.
but man, the guy had a chin the entire fight, just taking all the punches right on the chin.
Yeah. What I like about Volkanovski is nobody has done this to Zombie, and nobody really did this to Zombie. Even Ortega couldn't dominate Zombie to the point where he finished him. It shows how
Mhm.
good Volkanovski is and how dominating he is. I'm not sure who he should fight next though, because the featherweight division it's stacked, but they're not, nobody's really active. Actually, no, but he has to fight Max Holloway next. But after Max
He
Holloway,
has to
if
fight
he beats Max
Max.
Holloway, who
He
does
has
he
to
fight
fight
next?
Max. It's the thing is like if he who he fights next, because there's guys that just have to come up the rankings, and it's gonna get to the point where he's gonna have to challenge like I'm assuming the number 5, the number 6, like the number 7 rank, because the number like 5, 6, 7 is Cater, Arnold Allen, Josh Emmett,
Yeah,
and those are the guys that could challenge for the belt. But are they beating? Are they going to beat the guys who are on the top 3, like Max or Ortega or Yair?
yeah,
I think Yair needs to fight Volkanovski at some point, but the thing is, he just lost to Max, so
right.
it's tough.
The problem is no, like I don't know what's going on in the match in the UFC's matchmakers, but like they're not booking these fights. I want Ortega to be booked with Arnold Allen. I want Yair to be booked with Josh Emmett. They got to book all these fights so we can see who the next contender is for Volkanovski.
It just seems that I guess apart from Max, who's trying to fight whenever he can fight, the top guys there, like guys like Ortega, guys like Yair, they're kind of just sitting on these once a year fights
Yeah,
where they fight one a year, and it's not
featherweight
something we
the
want to
featherweight
see.
division
But
the featherweight division is really inactive, and
yeah,
I don't know why they're doing that.
I
they got to
don't know what the problem is if people aren't getting fights, if they're trying to push certain people, because there's a lot of good guys that could definitely challenge Volk. But the thing is, we don't know how long Volk still plans on fighting.
yeah,
That's the kind of sad thing, is that these champions who are coming in and like staying,
yeah,
they're only making like 3 to 4, 3 to 5 title defenses before everybody's questioning whether now they're going to retire. When back then it was just like you were champion and then you defended like 10 times.
yeah.
And so I feel like we're just getting a taste of these people before they're leaving us. So I hope Volk fights for a few more years.
Yeah, Volkanovski, he wants to be really active this year. He said he wants a lot of title defenses so he could be solidified as the GOAT. He said that
Hmm.
he doesn't want more title defenses than Aldo, which kind of makes me sad because I think that's the only way he can be above Jose Aldo in featherweight GOAT status. But he wants to get to close as many title defenses as Aldo. And if that happens, lots of people could consider him to be the next featherweight GOAT. One good thing about Volkanovski is he finally got a finish with Zombie. His problem
We were
before this,
talking about that last.
yeah, his problem before this fight was he didn't have any finishes as a champion. And this isn't like, this isn't a flush knockout, but at least it was a domination and it was a good stoppage. So it's good for
Mhm.
Volkanovski to get the finish. And another thing I want to say is that Volkanovski even recognizes how inactive his division is. he's saying that he wouldn't mind moving up to lightweight. He said he's gonna keep an eye on the Oliveira versus Gaethje fight because the featherweights aren't really active.
That's a guy who could definitely go up to lightweight, and I feel like if Volk does go up to lightweight, we'd see a lot more finishes.
Yeah,
He's going to have some extra power. He's going to have extra. And we already saw Volk pretty much at his quickest, at his best. So if he goes up to lightweight, we'll see him even better, stronger, faster. And so who knows what his future would look like in the lightweight division. I personally think that, yeah, he could challenge for the belt straight away. I don't know. I don't see why he wouldn't get a title challenge straight off the bat.
yeah. I feel like there's a chance of him beating Charles Oliveira, but him versus Gaethje, that'd be a really tough matchup. I wouldn't know who'd win that fight.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We're seeing some crazy matchups being made.
How about that Aljo versus Jan fight?
That just completely surprised all of us. Well, not all. I wouldn't say completely surprised because we knew what Aljamain is, but the thing is, and he did good in the first round of the last fight, just gassed out Jan, put it on him. But this fight was just first round. It seemed that they needed to open up, just find each other, see what was going on. Second and third round, all Aljamain Sterling, all Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah.
Fourth round was definitely all Jan, and then fifth round was questionable. Fifth round was questionable, but obviously they gave it I think they gave 1, 2, and 3 to Aljo, I'm assuming, and I guess Jan takes 4 and 5.
Yeah, you could argue 2 and 3 are 10-8. Before I was watching the fight, I thought Jan was gonna win it, and round 1 was happening, and I didn't really think much of it. I just thought Jan was powering up because Jan's fighting style, he gets stronger as the fight goes on. So I was waiting for him to just power up more and more. Then the second round came in, and for Aljo to take Peter Yan down and be on his back like that, that's amazing because no one has ever done that to Peter Yan before.
It's very rare that you see the American, especially a guy from Long Island, out wrestling a damn Russian. Like, we hardly see that these days in the UFC.
That's true, but I will say, when you say he's out wrestling the Russian, I feel like you mean he's out wrestling the Dagestani, and Peter Yan isn't Dagestani. He's Siberian. So those guys, the guys who are known for wrestling are Dagestanis. So if Aljo did that to a Dagestani, then I'd be surprised. But he did it to like a Russian guy, and they're not really known. Siberians aren't really known for wrestling.
Yeah, and Jan's main asset is striking, but Aljamain pretty much did exactly what he said he wanted to do. He wanted to be the monkey on his back and just backpack him the whole time, and that's what he did for pretty much 2 straight rounds.
I was so surprised when he did that. He was getting all this hate, like Aljo's a clown champion. Peter Yan's gonna whoop him. Aljo faked his last fight, and just for him to do that, he kind of shut all the haters up. But the problem is, like, even though he beat Yan by decision, it was very close, and it obviously wasn't a finish. So unfortunately, I think he's still gonna get the hate on social media for not finishing him. If Aljo finished Peter Yan like he did to Sandhagen, the haters would have been silent. They wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's also besides the fact that a lot of people already think that Yan took round 1, and he took since he took round 4 and 5, people think that Yan should have won. The thing is, it's mixed martial arts. If somebody takes you down for 3 rounds and just out wrestles you, you're gonna win the 3-round fight. And what I'm trying to say is, we saw Aljo have more control throughout the fight compared to Yan in rounds 1, 4, and 5. And yeah, you could say 2 and 3 were 10-8s. So even if Jan's rounds were 10-9, it could still have been a draw, I think.
Yeah, it still could have been a draw. But I re-looked at the stats for round 1 of Aljo versus Yan, and Aljo landed more strikes than Peter Yan did. I really thought Aljo won the first round. And I want to talk about Jan's fighting style, it's like when you saw him fight, he's so patient. He's a very patient fighter. But in yesterday's fight, if you notice in the first round, he was trying to knock him out to create a statement. And I think maybe that's what caused Jan to lose. He wasn't as patient. He maybe wanted to end the fight early just because he has beef with Aljamain.
Yeah, there was a lot of definitely emotions in that fight. You could tell even in the later rounds, Jan knew he was just down. And so he was kind of charging in with the punches, hitting him with combinations, just trying to knock his head off. But in the first round, and he was very patient. And then obviously it was all Aljo second and third. And then fourth and fifth, he was starting to pick himself back up, starting to stuff the takedowns. I think Aljo attempted more than 20 takedowns, but only landed 2. It was just insane.
Yeah. Everyone was giving Aljo hate for making excuses in the first fight with him and Jan, because in that fight, Jan out-wrestled him. So Aljo was getting shit for that. But it turns out those excuses kind of came true, because in this fight, the wrestling was very different. We saw Aljo out-grapple Jan for the most of the time.
Yeah. Did you see at the end of round 2 where Aljo is going back to his corner and his coach, Ray Longo, he gets up and he goes, Aljo, look at him in the face.
Yeah.
I love that. That was so much fun.
Yeah, that was funny. Well, one thing in his corner, the last fight, Aljo had Eric Nixick in his corner, who's like a really good MMA coach, who's Ngannou's coach, and he didn't have him in this fight. So I kind of just wonder, why wasn't he there this time? I feel like he was the best coach out of all of them.
I wonder, did we see Al in Aljo's corner for the first Jan fight?
Okay. Yeah, in the first Jan fight.
Okay. I don't know if Al was in the corner for the first Jan fight.
I don't think he was. I don't think so. But yeah, I guess
it was also interesting seeing Al in the corner, and then
you had the Georgian guy Merab.
And we can also say that Jan didn't have his corner, right? Because they all
that's the closest excuse Jan can make. If he has an excuse, he can say that he didn't have his main corner around him, and that's why he lost the fight.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because his current corner, they don't have they didn't really talk about the game plan as much as Jan's main coaches did. So that could be the only reason why it hurts him. Maybe Jan's not going to do this again. Maybe Jan's only going to fight with his main corner after seeing what happened in his last fight.
That's got to be his top priority, to make sure that he's got his corner with him now.
Yeah. And
maybe they weren't giving him the right advice.
Yeah, I think it was the American top team coach Parum. He was cornering Jan, and he doesn't speak Russian, so he had the manager as his translator, Jan's manager as his translator, and when you're translating, maybe just you can't really go into specific detail when you're translating something, right? So that's why Jan, it was hard for him to corner Jan. And then Jan's main coach, he speaks fluent Russian, so Jan would understand everything. In an octagon.
Yeah, it was definitely a fact. 100%. If you don't got your main corner in, it's gonna affect you in the fight, because I guess as much knowledge as Jan probably has, you always need just that little advice, and also just you have that relationship with your corner. He's only been at American top team training with them for a few weeks since he came into the U.S. from Russia, so it wasn't a lot of adjustment time that he could make. So, but at the end of the day, Jan was the champion, and there's no excuse for this one.
Yeah,
Aljo just did what he needed to do, secured the win. Do we think there's going to be a third rematch, or are we thinking the bantamweight division's got to open up now? I mean, we saw Aljo call out TJ at the end of the fight. Him and TJ were going back and forth, so maybe that's the fight to make.
Good question. So I think I don't think we should see a third fight. I think Aljo won that fair and square. I think he should fight TJ Dillashaw next. And if Aljo versus TJ Dillashaw happens, I think TJ Dillashaw could win. You know why?
Why?
Because unlike Peter Yan, TJ Dillashaw has a better wrestling background. Nobody has ever taken TJ on his back. And TJ's striking is just as good as Peter Yan's. Maybe it's a little bit worse, but it's just as good because we've seen his striking against Corey Sandhagen, and we've seen him, knock out Cody Garbrandt twice. So I think if TJ fights Aljo, he could. There's a good chance of TJ beating him.
I definitely see that, and also we got to talk about the fact that Aldo is still ranked 3 in the bantamweight rankings. TJ 2. So I think definitely TJ and Aljo seems like a good matchup. I'm wondering, like, if Merab gets up there, do Merab and Aljo plan on fighting each other?
They said they're not going to fight each other, but I think it's gonna come a time where they're gonna have to.
There's gonna have to come a time where if Aljamain stays as champion and Merab's currently 6, Merab versus I think Merab could have a good chance against any of the top guys.
I think his
wrestling is just so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think him versus Corey Sandhagen will be a good fight. And then if he beats Corey Sandhagen, maybe him versus Peter Yan in Russia. Actually, not Russia, but him versus Peter Yan would be a good fight. And then if he beats Peter Yan, he could get the title shot.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds like some good matchups we got going here. The bantamweight division definitely at its highest point right now. And with Aljo as champ, King of Cringe is coming back. So
did you hear? Yeah, he's coming back. He said he's putting himself back in the USADA testing pool.
Yeah, and it looks like he wants his revenge for Zombie, and he's coming right at Volkanovski.
Yeah, I think he said he would never come back because for the money. But I think he finally accepted the fact that they're not going to pay him more. I think he's like, fuck this. I just want to fight again. I don't even care how much I get paid.
I don't know why Henry thinks he needs to fight. I mean, he's doing good in life. He's training everybody, all these fighters. Like we saw in the trailers how many fighters he's training over there.
Yeah.
And he's doing well.
Yeah,
I don't know if he kind of wants to prove it to himself and prove it to the world that he's still the same guy that will just when the cards are down, he's going to make a comeback. He's going to finish this fight somehow. He's going to win. And that's what we saw from Henry, pretty much his 3 previous fights before he left. And so with Volkanovski, I think Henry wants to prove that he can beat these guys.
I think he wants to done what no one's ever done before, become triple champ. That's the only reason. I don't
think Henry in the lightweight, or at least I guess the featherweight division, he could definitely do it. He could definitely do it with I don't know, because I think Henry's 5'4".
Yeah.
It'd be one of the first fights where Volkanovski has a height advantage.
Yeah.
So I mean, how do we think that would pan out?
I think Volkanovski would still kick his ass, but I want to see Henry try. I think I would like to see that fight. Maybe that fight could happen this year, but Dana doesn't want to give him a title shot to the featherweight division. He said no right away. Dana said that if he wants to fight Volkanovski, he has to fight bantamweight again, and then go up to featherweight.
What if we have, let's say Cejudo comes back for his first featherweight fight. He fights Brian Ortega or Yair Rodriguez, maybe?
That could work. That could really work. He
fight one of them. If you beat them, it's got to be a title shot.
That's true. Yeah, maybe that could happen. Who knows? But yeah, Henry has the best chance. Henry has a good chance to beat Volkanovski only because they're very similar in height. He's only 2 inches shorter than Volkanovski.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Henry was, wrestling for the 99-pound division in the Olympics. And, or not the 99-pound, but he was wrestling really small. And we talk about how Volkanovski played rugby and was 200-plus pounds.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is just built big. He's just a big dude. And
that's true.
We haven't really seen somebody who kind of out-punches and out-strengths Henry in his past few fights. Because, for the 125 belt, Henry, he looked big in that fight with TJ, but TJ obviously had to cut so much weight.
Yeah.
And then with Marlon's a big dude. Henry was able to weather the storm, but still finish Marlon. Yeah. And then with Dom's not much of like a, big muscular dude.
Mm-hmm.
And so like this would be Henry's biggest test, I don't think this would be Volkanovski's biggest test.
Yeah, it's one of those fights where Volkanovski is a giant favorite. It's like a Rockhold and Bisping fight. I don't see any way. I think Volkanovski would really dominate, would really beat Henry Cejudo because his striking's really good. And if Henry tries to take him down, Volkanovski is just so strong that he would just shut that shit down quickly.
He's got so much energy, like his scramble game, and he just seems like he does not get tired in fights.
Yeah.
I just haven't really seen him get tired too much.
Dude, his cardio is as good as Max Holloway's.
Yeah. And the fact that he looked faster, I honestly think like with the next Max Holloway fight, we could see either person getting finished in that fight. I don't see that fight going the distance.
Yeah, same. It's weird because Volkanovski, he's slowly getting out of his prime, but he's actually getting better. He's like 33 or 34 years old.
Right.
Yeah. And the biggest fight on the card is Burns versus Chimaev.
The people's main event.
Oh my God.
Main event.
That was so crazy. Nobody thought it was gonna go that way. No one.
Nobody thought.
Dude,
I mean, pretty much in 4 fights, he's absorbed 1 strike.
Yeah.
Now in this one fight, he's absorbed like almost 150 strikes.
Yeah. It
was insane. Burns outstruck Chimaev in that fight.
Yeah, you could make an argument for that. He took Chimaev to a place where no other fighter ever has. He bloodied his face up. He beat him in round 2, and he knocked him down in round 2 too. And it wasn't just any knockdown.
Just from a jab, just from a straight jab that knocked him down.
Yeah. No, I'm saying Burns knocked down Chimaev at the end of the second round. Was that a jab?
I don't think
I think that was an overhand, right?
They did it. So they knocked down like on the stats. Gilbert Burns gets 0 knockdowns for the fight, and Chimaev got 1 for that jab that he knocked him down. They're not calling that a knockdown.
Why not? That was clean though. That's so weird. Anyway,
I guess they might be calling it a slip, but they're not. They didn't give Burns the knockdown. They gave him 0 knockdowns, 141 total strikes, 119 significant, and 0 for 5 for takedowns. And Chimaev had 1 knockdown, 124 total strikes, 108 significant, and 2 out of 3 takedowns.
That's crazy, dude. Because I consider that a knockdown. I feel like he kind of folded Chimaev, and Chimaev got knocked down, and he kind of panicked, took down Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, and I guess the good thing about this fight for Khamzat fans is Khamzat, he needed to be humbled. You know, he even said it himself. He came into this fight way too excited. He just wanted to show out in front of the number 2 contender, but he said I didn't know he was going to be that tough. And for Gilbert, I feel bad for him, man. Like if he would have beat Chimaev, he probably would have got another title shot against Usman after the Leon Edwards fight. But with Chimaev now, people, I don't think he's going to get a title shot straight away now. If he had outclassed Burns and like dominated him, I think a title shot would have been as much in conversation as a fight with Colby. But I believe now the next fight has got to be Colby Chimaev.
Yeah. Dude, Colby must be feeling so much more confident now that he saw his performance. Because before this fight, we viewed Chimaev as a god, as somebody no one's going to stop, as the biggest prospect in the world.
My thing is, I think watching Gilbert, I think Gilbert beats Colby because the way he was fighting, Gilbert has much heavier hands than Colby. So in the stand-up, that's what really was getting Chimaev, because Gilbert wasn't really hitting him with like too many crazy combinations. He was just like checking him with these shots that had so much power behind it. And Chimaev's like was just eating them up and just getting hit hard. But with Colby, he's just it hits you with the pool noodle arms, and then he just goes for the takedown, right? Although his striking has gotten better, he's rocked Usman a couple times. I don't think he'll find that much success with Chimaev if they get into a stand-up battle. I think Chimaev would probably outstrike him. And then with the wrestling, who knows? Who knows if Colby's is better than Chimaev or Chimaev's is better than Colby's? I think the fight is it could be very one-sided,
Uh-huh.
or it could be super close kind of. We're kind of seeing Chimaev as like a Usman in this sense, where he's kind of got the skills of everything, but he was just way too confident against Burns in that beginning fight, and he probably did not expect Burns to be that good.
Did you see his coach yell at him at the first round? At the end of the first round?
Yeah, he was yelling at him so much.
Yeah, I think he was telling him like, why the fuck did you not take him down? Why are you striking with him? Take him down and smash him. And Hamza didn't. Yeah, and Hamza, if that's true, then he didn't listen, because in the second round he kept striking with Gilbert Burns. Hamza wanted to make a statement to everyone that he could knock out Gilbert Burns, but now Hamza looks human, doesn't look untouchable anymore. Now when you see Hamza, now you could see like maybe Usman can beat this guy, because Usman TKO'd Gilbert in round 3, and Hamza couldn't do that. So yeah, now Hamza finally looks human.
My thing is though, like we said, like Hamza wanted to put a show on, and he wanted to go in there and just walk him down. And what he's proven is that like what you think you can do, you can't just try to do it kind of in that sense where it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna walk through him and everything. Like he didn't take it as him fighting the number 2 contender. He kind of just took it as him fighting another fight, and he's gonna do what he wants. But with Gilbert definitely showed that no, like you cannot just walk through me. Like I'm gonna give you the best that I can. So I think with this next Hamzat fight, he's gonna probably come in a lot more patient, a lot more what he was before we saw him. And I think it's gonna be a lot more different. And that's what I see at least. For Gilbert, man, if he had won, I don't know what's the next step for him really.
I feel like now Hamza's gonna do like what Khabib does, stick to father plan and smash.
Yeah,
I think his coach is really upset that he was striking, and I don't think we're gonna see that as much anymore.
And we saw when he was just getting gassed, like Gilbert's striking kind of stayed somewhat crisp, like he was just getting him with good shots. But Hamza was just a little sloppy with these strikes, man. It was kind of like these 1-2s. He was just throwing like these wild overhands at times.
Bro, he wanted that knockout. He wanted
it
badly.
So bad. It seemed like the only good shot he really had was the uppercut, and his jab was decent. When I like that a lot that he's switching up stances, because it gave Gilbert a lot of different looks. But a lot of times his punches were just like so readable. Like you could just see him easy at times.
Yeah. Dude, in the beginning of the fight, Hamza just came at Gilbert and just went for the same right cross he did at
exactly.
He really wanted that knockout.
He really did, but it goes to show you that there's levels to this, and Hamza, he proved that he's on the other level. But like, we talked about it. Had it gone 5 rounds, Gilbert probably would have won that fight. He very well could have won that fight had it gone 5 rounds. I think Gilbert's shots were getting to Hamza a lot more. Obviously, it's very split on people who think Hamza won it, very split on people who think Gilbert won it.
Yeah.
But had it gone 5 rounds, I think Hamza would have been way more gassed than we thought he would.
Dude, Hamza's dream is to be a triple champ. But after this performance, now I think like maybe that won't work. Maybe that's not possible.
I don't think we should be knocking him that much after one performance, because at the end of the day, the guy still won. He's still undefeated. True. Nobody is yet to find the blueprint to beat this guy. So I wouldn't knock him down this much just after one loss. He obviously still got a lot to prove now, and now even more after this fight. Yeah. But the cards are all still in his favor. Everybody's still going to want to see him fight. He probably got the biggest reactions of the whole night. You could even tell the crowd was just so like dead after the Hamza fight. Yeah. Like, even with the Jan and Sterling fight, and then the Volk Zombie fight, there was some chance for Zombie. A lot of people were chanting for Jan, but the hype was just really there. Yeah, the hype was really just there for Gilbert Chimaev.
That's true. But do you after seeing this, do you really think he can win a belt in light heavyweight? Those guys are way bigger. If he couldn't take down Burns and smash him, I don't know. I don't see him getting that light heavyweight belt.
with light heavyweight, I think it'd be tough. He's got a decent height. He's 6'2". I know that he was Swedish national championship, and
Yeah,
he wrestled at like 202, 202 pounds. Like he has wrestled at that weight before.
yeah,
And so I know that, and obviously he wrestled, what's his name? Gustafsson. He wrestles Gustafsson, and he out wrestled, I think Gustafsson, or he had a wrestling match with Jack Hermanson. He definitely proves he can out wrestle and outbeat these guys that are up there. In terms of striking, I think we've kind of seen that Hamzat's striking isn't as crazy as we thought it was.
yeah,
He's just
yeah,
got like wild. He's just got crazy power, but like in terms of precision and accuracy, he doesn't really have that.
yeah. I was very impressed with Hamza Chimaev's chin. He took some nasty shots from Gilbert Burns, and
Hmm.
it was impressive because he's never ever taken shots like that before. So when
Right.
he experienced those hits for the first time in a pay-per-view main event, he's only been doing MMA for like what 6 years, and for him to take shots at the biggest stage he's ever been in, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, and this is a fight that I think he just really needed to get under his belt. You need a fight where you're getting pushed to the limit, and then you finally get the win. Like
Hmm.
he probably needed that. He needed to be seriously humbled,
Yeah,
and that's exactly what he got. That's
and
exactly what he got.
and dude, his cardio was better than I thought. I was worried that he was gonna have the Conor McGregor cardio where he slowly gasses out, but
Hmm.
but he was actually like at the end of the third round, he looked like he could go fourth and fifth. He looked like his cardio is good. It's really good.
Yeah, I would agree. He was definitely getting gas, and I think he probably just dumped himself out in the first couple of rounds and was starting to get gas while Gilbert was still there trying to put something on. But Hamza definitely proved a lot of people that, yeah, he's human, but also, still undefeated, and he's going to be a problem in this division.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure he's gonna fight Colby next at the end of this year. And for Gilbert Burns, I don't know. I think he should either fight if Belal beats Luque. Maybe Belal could fight Burns next. That'd be a good next fight. Or maybe
Hmm.
maybe he could fight a Sean Brady next. I think those are his two options.
That's what I'm thinking for probably Sean Brady.
Yeah, I think one of those two fights would be good. If he fights Sean Brady or Belal Muhammad, I think Burns would beat him just from this
It's
performance.
it's like the top four of the welterweights with Usman, Covington, Burns, Edwards, and then guys like Chimaev. So we'll say like the top five.
Yeah,
I'd say like the level and competition, and I'll even throw Luque in there, is like kind of drastically different than the bottom half of the top 15.
really.
Because guys like Jeff Neal, Li Jingliang, Ponzinibbio, Chiesa, Magny, these guys are not going to get the job done against the top guys like Gilbert, guys like Luque, guys like Colby, guys like Usman. Kind of a real big discrepancy.
Hmm.
And so we're kind of rarely seeing Usman probably going to just having to keep fighting these top five until some new guy comes in that's just crazy.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. What do you think of what do you think of Dern versus Tessia Torres?
I thought that fight was pretty interesting. With Mackenzie Dern, I always like watching her fight just because of her grappling ability,
Yeah.
and we saw a little bit of that. She had a couple submission attempts, but other than that, it was your pretty back and forth fight. I think Tisha outstruck Mackenzie Dern, but she had more control throughout the fight and was able to get the job done on that.
Yeah.
And so props to Mackenzie. She's making her name in the strawweight division now, and I don't know who she plans on fighting next, but could see a lot of options. Let me check the rankings
Out
because now she was number fifth ranked,
yeah.
and now so we got Jan Janan, Marina Rodriguez. I know is the one that beat Mackenzie last,
Yeah.
so I know she definitely wants that fight back. And then we know Wei Li is fighting Joanna again.
Mhm.
Wei Li's gonna fight Joanna.
Yeah.
So I really don't know who she goes for.
Yeah, same.
Kind of tough.
When
Kind of
I, but
tough.
when I was watching this fight, Dern was very close with that submission, where
Hmm.
she was on Torres.
She was cranking her arm,
Yeah,
dude. Cranking
she
it.
was cranking her arm. She was very close with that. Her jiu-jitsu is really dangerous.
It's super dangerous. And that Kimura, I really thought she had it. And I thought her arm was going to get ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
And so I don't really know what's next for Mackenzie. We'll see what the UFC decides to do. I'm sure whatever matchup they make for that will probably be something that we'll enjoy.
Yeah. What do you think of
We can talk about the Vince Pichel and Mark Madsen.
Yeah, dude, about that, yeah, I was pretty surprised that Mark Madsen wasn't wrestling. He was striking a lot. I think just
And to
like
see, oh, go ahead.
yeah, I think just like every MMA wrestler, I think he wanted to strike just to get a knockout, kind of like what Chimaev wanted to do with Burns. I think that's why he wasn't wrestling as much.
Yeah, and the fact that we saw even Vince Pichel, he took Mark Madsen down. Like this guy is Vince Pichel's 39 years old.
Yeah,
He looks like your 1920s boxer, like
yeah,
the people who used to fight
yeah,
like this. And
yeah.
that's what he looks like. He looks like straight out of Peaky Blinders. And then Mark Madsen's an Olympian. So
He
this
looks like
40-year-old dude just took down an Olympian wrestler.
yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, Vince Pichel is actually like stronger than I thought. But
Yeah, there was one punch he hit him with in the fight. He hit him with one strike, and then he kind of acknowledged. He was like, "Yo, you better watch out for that, Mark." And
yeah.
but Mark was able to get the win. You know, he's
Uh-huh.
still undefeated. The thing with Mark Madsen is he's getting pretty old, so I don't know what his plans are in the
Bro, they're
lightweight
both
division.
old. Mark's like
Hmm.
37. Vince is 39 years old. I don't even know why
Yeah,
this
and
was a
Mark,
main card fight.
this was supposed to be scheduled a lot earlier. So it was supposed to be scheduled originally in February for
Yeah,
271,
yeah,
and it got canceled. And this is the problem for Mark Madsen is a lot of his fights, like he's not fighting kind of consistently. It's his last fight before this was August of 2021,
yeah.
and then his fight before that was March of 7th of 2020.
Uh-huh.
And he came in. He was having a really good 2019. But since that, he's only fighting once a year. I
Yeah,
really like to see him because he's got a lot of obviously he's got a lot of attributes. He's an Olympic level wrestler,
yeah.
and then he can strike. So I want to see more of him, but the lightweight division really doesn't have space for a guy like him anymore.
That's true. That's true. I feel like yeah, I don't think he's gonna make the top 15, honestly. I think it's just too late for him. I think he's just too old. I don't really
Hmm.
see much. I don't see him much of as a threat.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't understand why Garry wasn't in the main card. I think it would have been perfect if
Yeah,
he was on the main card. He's a new prospect too. He's
I
from
think the
Ireland.
problem. I think the problem was there were so many pullouts
Yeah,
during this card, like unfortunately. So that's why the early prelims only had 3 fights, and then the prelim card only had 4 fights. Had they put him in I guess you could have dropped Madsen to the prelims,
yeah,
but either way, Garry, he kind of really didn't show me too much.
true.
He's a very good striker.
Very
You know,
patient.
he looks at for all those openings. He's very patient. Also very respectful in the ring. Like
Yeah.
even though he talks a lot of trash, he's a very respectful
Nah, he talks
warrior.
zero trash,
Definitely
dude.
outstruck him. Yeah,
Yeah,
he wants to be I guess a showman of some sorts. He wants to be that next McGregor, and we'll see it. But the thing is,
he's young. He
this
still has a chance.
Darian Weeks is not ranked. If you want to make a name for yourself, especially in the welterweight division, you got to get some finishes, dude.
That's
You got to
true.
get some finishes. We got to see you putting people's lights out. And
Hmm.
so doing it that way, I would have liked to see him throw more caution to the wind. It's a 3-round fight. Like when I say caution to the wind, be more aggressive. You want to get that stop. You want to get that finish.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, he was very patient in the fight. And yeah, it's like you said. I think he should have been more aggressive. I noticed that he's really long for the division. He's
Yeah,
like
he's super tall.
6'3" Yeah, I've never seen a welterweight that tall before. But he's young. He's only 24 years old, 1 year younger than I am. So I think even he said himself on the mic that I have time to improve.
Right.
He knows that he's not that good. So
Right.
you just gotta give somebody like him time. He trains at the best gym in the world at Sanford MMA, and we'll see him. We'll see him. I think we'll see him be really good. Just not now. Just gotta be patient with him.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And so it's going to be fun to see what noise he makes in the division and who he'd fight next. I have to take a look on. I don't know if
It's so hard.
Obviously, he's not going to get a top 15.
Yeah.
But like with the unranked guys, there's just so many unranked guys in every division.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some divisions where the unranked guys should be in ranked, and there's some divisions where the unranked guys shouldn't even be the UFC. But
it's hard to say who we should fight next because there's so many options in the unranked division. And it's not like we have a roster of the unranked fighters that we can just say who we should fight next. But the
UFC has hundreds and hundreds of fighters at this point. Too many to keep up with.
Mm-hmm. But we can agree that he shouldn't fight a ranked fighter yet. Just fight somebody unranked.
Should not.
And then we'll see what happens with you next.
Hey, just go the Sean O'Malley route. Just keep upping your cash flow, and then by the time you get into the ranked fighters, you're getting paid like 80 to show, 80 to win, or something like that.
That's true. Yeah.
And then there's a couple more fights that I want to talk about. The Mickey Gall, Mike Maylott fight.
I saw that fight.
That was a lot of fun to watch. Of course, the fights before, Anthony Hernandez, Josh Fremd, decent fight. Aspen Ladd, Raquel Pennington, decent fight by Raquel. But Mickey Gall, Mike Maylott, this was what'd you say?
I want to talk about the Mickey Gall fight because, dude, Mickey Gall he was never good to begin with. I think he debuted in the UFC with a record of 2-0, 3-0. He beat I think he beat CM Punk. He lost to an old Diego Sanchez.
Most people know Mickey Gall as the guy who beat CM Punk, I would say.
Yeah. He was never like high level to begin with. Dude, the guy lost to Mike Perry. Like, come on, bro. I don't get why the UFC cuts people like Kevin Lee or Yoel Romero, but they allow Mickey Gall to fight. I don't understand it. It just bothers me. Like, hire me, UFC. I will cut the fighters who actually suck, and I will put the right matchmaking.
Yeah, this was Mike Maylott's UFC debut, and they just said, Mickey Gall, just take this L over here. Just hold this. You're gonna take this, hold it, have fun,
dude.
And that's exactly what happened. It was just a wolf, just a prey being thrown to the wolves, basically.
Dude, Mike Mallett. It's not even that Mike Mallett is so good. Like, he's probably an average UFC prospect. He has a record of
Mickey Gall is just so ass. He's just ass, dude.
Yeah, like Mike Mallett has a record of 8-1. It's just UFC. Mike Mallett folded Mickey Gall. They cut him UFC. He is not a good UFC fighter. I don't know, man. I don't know what the UFC matchmaker thinks. I don't know.
And he's on a 2-loss streak. And the people he's won against, they're really just no names. Like, he lost to Diego Sanchez. He lost to Diego Sanchez in 2019. How are you losing to an old Diego Sanchez?
Yeah. Maybe the best win is maybe Sage Northcutt, but then again, that guy's a lightweight.
His best win is CM Punk because so many people watched that fight because it was CM Punk.
That is sad. Your best win
is sad, dude.
Punk. That is sad.
That's the thing about some of the prelims. It was just a lot of especially with people like let me check it out. Like Aspen Ladd, like her record is now 9-3. She was so good, and then now she's doing so bad. Mickey Gall 7-5. His record's bad, and like even on the early prelims, like there was a lot of fighters. Like
there's one fighter.
It was just Kay Hansen. You talking about?
Bro. She has like a record of 7-6, and she's
Like,
She's
she just stick to OnlyFans now. Just stick to your OnlyFans. You're done.
It's so
Your
funny.
fighting is not good. Like, your fighting is not as good as I thought it was. Like, she's our age. Like, I want to give her props.
Yeah.
No, like, you're just bad. Like,
Dude, I can't think of fighters.
She came into the UFC. She came into the UFC and just got fucked for 3 straight fights. She's on 3 straight losses. Like, just stick to OnlyFans now.
Dude, I can't take a fighter seriously that has an OnlyFans account and that also fights. Bro, they got the women's fighting division, the women's MMA. They have, I don't know. I think we gotta wait 5 or 6 years for it to be more professional. Because the women fighters fighting right now are dog shit. I don't like watching them. We'll see what happens in 6 or 7 years. We need Valentinas. We need Valentina Shevchenkos that are unranked. Those are the kind of female fighters we need.
Yeah, you want just more depth and more just complexity in the female divisions, and we're just not getting enough of that. We just need more names being thrown out there. So, but I think it's definitely on the come up, and obviously we can say 5 years ago it's a lot better than it was now.
Yeah.
Or 5 years ago it was a lot better than it was back then. Sorry, and so we're only seeing more progression.
And dude, there's one thing I want to say. Like Amanda Nunes, like people say, oh, she's the GOAT. Oh, she's good. Bro, I feel like she's not even that good. Like if you actually watch Amanda Nunes' fights, like her striking is mid at best. There's nothing special to her fighting style. I think like again, like women's MMA is where men's MMA was in the 2000s. It just hasn't been developed yet. I feel like the only
so if like we're looking at pound for pound like women's GOATs, obviously you have to put Amanda up there because she's the only double champ in women's MMA history, the closest. And then right under that I think is Valentina. I think Valentina's right there. And then maybe even Rose. I think Rose goes up there for one of the GOATs. I'd say probably the greatest in the strawweight division. Yeah. I think she's got that. Already.
I feel like the
greatest in flyweight, easily Valentina. Greatest in bantamweight, people could say Ronda. People could say Amanda. Could be Juliana Pena now.
Yeah.
Maybe Juliana Pena makes her run. So we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like the closest female fighter that's really, really skilled is Shevchenko, Rose Namajunas, and Zhang Willy. They like when you see them strike, it looks very professional. Like you could say that Zhang Willy's punching is better than Patty's. When Zhang Willy punches, she's in full form. Her hand is up, and when you see Patty punch, it's like his hands are down. It's like that. I don't know. Yeah, I think those are like the few women fighters that are like good.
You guys are getting a ranting Umer this episode. A lot of Umer rants.
Yeah, I want to see. I want more of this. Ranting is fun. Yeah.
And then the last fight I wanted to talk about was probably Alexey Oleinik getting his his 1,000th win in the UFC. It seems.
Yeah.
Alexey Oleinik now has a total of 60 professional MMA wins.
Yeah.
60 wins, 16 losses, and the name of this choke, I think it's called Joe called it the scarf choke. No, Joe called it the scarf, where he kind of had a headlock and he was kind of pushing his head into like just cutting off his breathing, just very lot of stress on the neck. Yeah. And so it was really fun to see Alexey Oleinik win again. He's always just a catalyst in the heavyweight division. Whatever he does, it's just gonna be fun.
Dude, I like Alexey. I'll go first. I like Alexey Oleinik. Like, he's a really nice guy. I've seen his Instagram. He has a family. I feel like he's happy. And dude, it's crazy. It's really crazy for Alexey Oleinik. Like, I respect him so much because he's been doing this literally before you and I were born. He's been doing MMA before you and I were born. So the amount of knowledge,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
So the amount of knowledge he has is so crazy with the number of fights. And he's like 43 years old. He's still going. Like, respect to him.
His first MMA fight was in 1996. This is insane.
And dude, he's winning. Dude. He's still winning.
And he's still winning.
That's so impressive.
What is that? That's like 25 26 years, like 27 years of
Let's be honest.
straight.
Let's be honest. He's never going to be champion. Never ever.
No, dude.
Never going to win a top 5.
Dude, this is not even a title run he's making. He's just in fights just to be in fights.
My man
You think in his mind he's thinking I'm going to win the title? He takes a soft punch from Ngannou, he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
That's probably what's going to happen.
My man is just gatekeeping for fun. He's just having fun. Like he was on a 3-loss streak and now he's back in the winning column. So we'll see what comes next of him. It'll be so crazy if he becomes champion, just like Glover did. But I don't see that happening. But yeah.
And then to wrap it up, next week we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see you guys next week. Next week we have the Luque Muhammad fight. Yeah. Should be a decent fight. Belal Muhammad, personally, not one of my favorite fighters to watch.
Yeah,
he kind of to me just seems like a point fighter, just trying to point it out. But with Luque is one of my favorite fighters to watch. Love watching Vicente Luque fight, so definitely excited for that.
Dude, Belal Muhammad, he is a point fighter. He is a boring fighter. But at the end of the day, my brother gets the job done. He gets the win. And one thing I was impressed with Belal Muhammad is when he was fighting Wonderboy, I put money on Wonderboy to win. I thought Wonderboy was going to knock him out. But Belal absolutely dominated Wonderboy. It was decision, but he out-grappled him all 3 rounds. And think about this, Anthony. Wonderboy fucked up Vicente Luque. So just because of that, I think
that's the thing is with Belal, he did not want to get into a striking battle with Thompson. That's why he played the wrestling game. Yeah. With Luque knew, and Stephen Thompson knew we're gonna make this a striking battle. So like I know this is not going to the ground. So I'm completely comfortable throwing exactly what I need to throw. And I think that's what made the Luque-Thompson fight so close. Mm-hmm. But you kind of knew that with the Thompson-Belal fight, Thompson kind of probably knew that, okay, maybe this guy's going to want to wrestle me. So you're a bit more hesitant. And that's why Belal's obviously has superior wrestling, takes him down to do what he needed to do. But that one with Luque and Thompson was just an open striking battle. And that's what they did.
Yeah. I think Belal has a chance to beat Luque, even though Luque knocked him out in the last fight. This could be a close fight. It all depends on Luque's wrestling. We really haven't seen much of Luque's wrestling besides the Woodley fight. So I can't wait for this fight. This is a good fight against 2 welterweight contenders. It's a good main fight. I fuck with it.
Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's a black belt in BJJ. So he's definitely got this. Yeah, Luque is a black belt in BJJ. He's definitely got the skills. And obviously he's got some serious power in those hands. I want to say, I don't know what Belal's game plan will be because he's definitely not good. It's got to be the takedown, right? Yeah. Because it's too much of a risk in the striking. Yeah. But then with that black belt in BJJ, we'll see how he faces up against it.
Yeah, can't wait to see that fight. Thank you, everyone. Can't wait to see. Sorry, what?
I was just saying, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, for watching our podcast. We love doing this. We're going to keep on going, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.